Oh, and I got some peralkatone to use to put all the hardware together with. We've got these steel parts. These are powder coated, so that should be a good insulation between the aluminum and the steel. But the bolts still go through there, and they still go through aluminum parts and stuff. So anyway, I'll gook everything up real good with peralkatone, and that should protect everything from any corrosion. And as I get farther out in the wing, it might not make quite so much difference, but that fuel tank bay is probably the one that has the most chance of getting water in it, because it's got the fuel tank cover on it, plus around the fuel filler neck opening. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Put the peralkatone on everything and make sure everything's all cleaned up and all as spick and span and as good as I can make it anyway. The fuel tank straps are in. These are the lower straps here that the fuel tank lays on, and then these are the top straps here that clamp it down. I've got the bolts in here to clamp them down, but I'm going to take those out and clean those up, probably put new nuts on them before we put it back together. But anyway, those things are in, and that's good. They look like hell, as usual, with all the peralkatone on everything. It's euphemistically called bear shit, but that helps keep them from rusting up. And then I've got Teflon tape underneath each one of them to insulate them between the aluminum and the steel and keep them from abrading. And they got paint on them, which would work for that, but like the old lady said when she blew her nose in the gravy, every little bit helps. And then I've got the bracket here for the bell crank for the flap actuator. Bell crank, that's bolted up. I still have to get that all put on and together. Oh, I'm happy I got the straps on there. One little set of things out of the way. And there'll be some felt that goes down on here to insulate. Well, let's see here. I've got the felt right here to keep the tanks from abrading. That needs to be glued back in there. But I think I'm probably going to order some new felt for these. It gets felt here, short strip here on this front piece, and piece all the way around here on this top tie-down straps, and then a big piece that fits down underneath here on these lower straps. And then I think there's a piece that goes across here on one of these diagonal braces off that rib there too. And then this is the bracket for the bell crank for the flap. I still got to put the bell crank in there and all that paraphernalia, but I might wait to do that until after we get other stuff down here, so we're not walking by it and bumping it. And then we still have to, where's the hole? There's the hole for that. We still have to put a bolt in here for that hinge, for that inboard hinge for the flap. Of course, I can't put that on until I get everything else ready anyway, because that's attached to the fairing that goes on here that fairs this out, the false spar that goes back here. Anyway, that feels good. It always feels good to start getting something together instead of tearing things apart all the time. Well, I went ahead and put that butt rib in there. I haven't got the screws yet for screwing into this thing. I've ordered some beast type screws and I haven't got them yet. It's going to be a while to get them, but so I went through all the old screws and stuff and found ones that were in really good shape. Put those in here, screwed it into the same holes that it came out of. I had to drill one hole for this one bracket that I made that had been hogged out, but anyway, it's in there pretty good. And then I put the diagonal braces in. There's one diagonal brace up here in the front and two in the back here, one on each side of the spar. And that's pretty good. I think it's in there. I have to think about whether I'm going to put that bell crank in here yet or not. Yeah, I don't know. I was going to say it might make it harder to put that hinge up on there where it bolts into here. And there is a bracket that goes under the hinge that's a stop for the bell crank. Well, it doesn't matter about the hinge because I don't have the bolt for it yet, and I can check and see whether I got the bolts, the pivot point bolts and stuff like that for the bell crank here. I think I've got most everything I need for that. I've still got to put these other two ribs in to go in these bottom half ribs or partial ribs or whatever the heck those things are called. I've got those apart right now to clean them up because they had some crud on them, and I want to clean them up and I want to paint them before I put them back in there. anyway, that's more together than it was.